If you want to be in a better financial position by 2026, this matters more than any investment tip you'll hear over the course of the next year. Now, after a decade of investing, although there's been some good and bad decisions, these are the 5 things I'd focus on first before you even consider putting more money into the market. Not to get rich quickly, but to keep more money, feel in control, and remove a lot of emotion. And even if you're not an investor, this will change how you look at things, especially if you're kind of thinking about improving things, especially when it comes to New Year's resolutions. Is kill your money leaks, without going too extreme, of course. You don't need a strict budget. You don't need to count every single penny. You just need to have awareness of what goes in and obviously what goes out. Any subscriptions, any random spending that you may have, or a change in lifestyle that may be creeping in, try and curb it as much as you can. Now, as I say though, I do not micromanage my spending. I just don't see the need to. I just remove the stuff that quietly drains my cash flow every single month, because if I don't use it, I get rid of it. And that makes it more sense. So on the screen, this is my Monzo account. I know. So when I look at this, I know roughly what I spend every single month. Now, the date is a little bit skewed on this because one of the accounts is new. So when we talk about this, it's important to know, but this is the thing. What are your bills? What are your subscriptions, as I say? What do you not use? So the first thing to do, anything you've not used, any subscriptions that may be there, dormant or whatever, or gym subscription that you've never ever used, or something on your, your iTunes or Apple, whatever, as these days, as a subscription that may be pending, just get it in the bin. Make sure you've got a list. Now, this is Monzo. I highly recommend that you use Monzo. If you've got a Monzo account, use that analytics tool, categorize things in it. It's brilliant, and it will help you massively because it will give you a weekly report as well. Because when I go onto each individual month and I press a category such as bills here, you will be able to see very, very quickly what your outgoings are. And you can do this on any banking app, by the way. You just have a little look, write it down, make a spreadsheet, however you want to do it. Personally, I like Monzo because it does it for me. But I can scroll down and go, oh, Disney Plus. That's very expensive, by the way, now, isn't it? Yeah, so you get the point. So when you start talking about what is going out every single month, you'll have a rough idea. Can you get rid of any of it? And if you can, brilliant. A little bit of a tip as well, by the way. If you go to cancel some subscriptions now, it doesn't happen to on everything, but a lot of them don't want you to leave. So sometimes you may get a 25% off for the first 3 months or something like that. So you may well save a bit of money even though you remain with them if you are looking to stay. So yeah, once you start, seeing where the leaks are and where the big hemorrhages are, essentially, the next step is to look at the full picture. Which brings me on to this. This is step number 2. Run a full financial audit. Not to feel guilty, but to get some sort of control. Now, this is my overall spending over the course of the year. Crazy. One-off audit, not a daily obsession. This is where you'll see where your money goes and see what is fixed and what is obviously flexible. Kind of what we've done before, but understand you on a deeper level, essentially, because when you start noticing trends, are you spending more in the summer? Like myself. Obviously, there's been a lot of different things there. Big payments, obviously. But this is the thing. Most people don't have a money problem. They just have a visual problem where they only see it once or they never see it at all. Once you start seeing what's happening, it's much easier. So with this, for example, you can just scroll down and see roughly what your general expenses are, what you're spending on holidays, what your shopping is, and then understand yourself on a deeper level to understand where the money's going. What can you be better with? Because at the end of the day, stopping leaks is one thing. Understanding yourself and understanding your spending habits are a different thing, realistically. Because, for example, you may spend more shopping in certain supermarkets. You may be doing too many Amazon things. That's me, by the way. You may be spending too much time having takeaways, for example, right? Understand where the pitfalls are every single year, and it will become much better. And it can set you a little goal. Certainly when we go to step 5 about goals, I will have less takeaways. I will spend less on Amazon, for example. By the way, I was using Monzo before, not a paid ad or anything. It is just a simple refer a friend. There is a link below to this. You get some free monies. Monzo is a fantastic bank with a very, very good app. Now, the third thing you need to do is a bit of a reset. We've gone through your accounts now to make some clear points. What is your emergency fund? Have you got peace of mind that you have one? If not, you should probably start thinking about it. This will obviously stop the forced selling if needed, if you're in investments or if you've got other situations around savings where you have to have the money. And it also makes your decisions much easier to make if you have a pot of money laying around. Now, that's the thing. When we're talking about like chasing returns or chasing money in investments or putting money into pensions or whatever it may be, every bad decision that I've had in the past has always came from the fact that, you don't feel secure. You got to have a situation of clarity. Money you can afford to lose, for example, a solid safety net changes how you think. And it makes life much easier if you can sleep at night, certainly when you are either investing, put money in your pension, saving for the long term. Because if you need the money, you will need the money, obviously, right? If you don't need it, that's fine. You can then spread it out a little bit further. Number 4 is an obvious one, but sorting out your tax and your other affairs. Because you may be coming towards the end of the year very, very soon. You may not have filled up your ISA allowance, for example. That is one big tick in the box that you should really have. Can you put the maximum amount into your ISAs? Simple as that. The second one, contributions for pensions. Are you getting enough tax relief? Are you putting enough in your pension? Is your workplace pension doing the best it can possibly do? Make sure you check on that, for example, because that makes it easier. Another thing as well, if you're in general invested or you have other investments and some of them are underperforming, if you want to, maybe do a tax loss on that, tax harvesting. Bit more complicated if you're not willing to sell, but ultimately, if you've got something that's down a lot, you can offset that on future tax, situations, certainly capital gains tax. That does not include ISAs, by the way, so don't do it in your ISA, only in your general investing account. But realistically, you should have an ISA anyways. But you do need to be tax efficient, realistically. People chase returns while ignoring the biggest guaranteed win, which is tax efficiency. I know it's not exciting, but it works. At the end of the day, if you can fill up as much of your ISA as you can, if you have your self-investment pension, which on the screen is Pension B here, and your government's going to give you a bit more, brilliant, especially in the UK, make use of it. It makes sense because you're in the market, they manage it for you, and you get some freebies. Not financial advice, of course. Obviously, you will pay tax when you withdraw this when you're at the age of 155, when we get to retire at my age. But you get the point. Now, number 5, and the most obvious one for a lot of people, especially coming towards the new year, is set some goals. Now, I know everyone likes to eat less cake or reduce their waistline, whatever. But when you're talking about finance, you could have some very, very clear priorities, realistically. Fewer goals, and just put your money where your mouth is and go, right, I want to achieve this by the end of the year. This obviously will give you something to focus on. It may well reduce stress if you're focusing on it as well, and automate what matters more than anything. So obviously, yes, with investing, for example here, you may go, right, I want to invest at least £250 per month on average, without fail, automatic. Set it with your big bills. So for example, with my screenshot, for example, before, most of my bills go out on the first, second, third. Do it around there. So it's already in the pipeline. Boom, tick in the box, done. I'm in. Obviously, have an emergency fund first and before you do any of this. Another thing could be you may want to put more into your pension. You may want to go, I want to contribute more into my workplace pension. I may want to spend less expenses. I may want to do this. You get the idea. Every different scenario is obviously different for every person. A goal isn't to look good on paper. It's just to feel in control. What I've often said to a lot of people is people who flash the cash tend to have, less income anyways. It's all about being quiet, just gradually build in the background. It makes sense. But for me, for my goals is I want to fill up my ISA. I've got another couple of thousand I need to put in by April. That's one of my goals. Fill it, completely done. I want to continuously build my portfolio. I want to get to a point of earning at least £10,000 per year by 2030, for example. There's all kinds of different metrics and situations here you can go for. It realistically doesn't matter kind of sharing it to everyone, but ultimately, just simple things. You may well reduce something that is very, very clear that gives you £100, £150 a month extra that you can maybe save more. You can maybe put it into the market or just put it into your pension for the long term. There's so many options here. This is a framework I'm somewhat following myself. It's not perfection, it's just consistency. It allows you to kick the can down the road for further. At the end of the day, if you can save a bit of money, you can invest more or you can save more, as I say. And the more control you've got, the easier life is, the better you can sleep for obvious reasons, right? There's too many people, I think, fall into the world of personal finance, whether it's investing, budgeting, I don't know, side hustles, whatever it may be, and going full balls deep without having the foundation set. Get rid of the leaks. Have a full audit of where things come out. Understand where the tax efficiency is. Have an emergency fund. All that kind of stuff needs to be taken care of first. It's simple house cleaning, realistically. And if you do want more content like this, where I'm as transparent as I possibly can be regarding my Monzo account, let me know. And if you've not yet done so, please do watch this video. This will help you a lot with other things that you may well be considering right now.